Miami, 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 Miami. It feels like Miami.
Welcome to the Miami Heat Beat Postgame Show, brought to you by Robinhood. I'm Giancarlo Navas, and with me today, Stream Beat co-founder, Draft Beat Insider, Franky G.
They don't have enough. How you doing?
You know what? I was doing great. My football team, Liverpool, won the biggest game of their season, vanquishing their boogeyman, Man City, in a public execution at Anfield. A couple days prior, they do the same thing to Real Madrid, really the biggest thorn in their side in all of Europe, beating the European champions and the English champions in the span of a few days. And then I'm greeted by this. I go from the highest feeling that sports can give me down to watching the Heat down 12 to one of the worst teams in the league.
Yeah, that's the full Miami Heat experience. I don't know about that football stuff, the American, whatever. I don't care. Worldwide football, that sucks too. Chat saying I downloaded Robinhood and it advised me that I'm investing too much time into the Heat. I blame them too. Yeah, I blame the Heat for your
Stocks are down.
Stocks are down. Are you bearish or bullish on the Heat? You haven't had a chance to give your take.
That tomorrow's the return of bearish or bullish. Spoiler alert: Heat Celtics, bearish or bullish. Coming back. Shout out to you, Robinhood. I'm very mid, Frankie. I'm very mid, and I think today, a good team just kind of wins these games. I know that the Heat kind of fought back and got back in it a little too late. Jimmy probably not going to play against Boston. I guess we're going to wait to see what nonsense the organization and Spo say post game. It's never typically insightful as they play things very close to the vest. So I guess we'll watch what the reporters who are there in Toronto are saying, but have to assume he's not going to play. You're 9-9. You're going into a big week. As we said yesterday, you play Boston tomorrow, Monday. You get the Lakers, LeBron on Wednesday. Then you have a date with the Phoenix Suns on Saturday. So kind of a tough week for them to really kind of fall backwards into. No cushion at all. If they have a bad week, it's going to be tough for them. I mean, Frankie, they got enough from their offense today. I mean, they got 116 up. You get Jimmy contributing on offense. You have Rozier having a good game on offense. You have Hero having another great game on offense. Bam, 13, 20, and 7. You want the field goal percentage to go up, but statistically, that's pretty good. They had enough to get this done.
Plus 15 and a 3-point loss wasn't enough.
Exactly. I mean, and oddly, I don't want to pin any of this on Kevin because Kevin's just been great for them all season. Just failing to inbound the ball when you have 2 timeouts. I actually thought they weren't in such a bad position. I was like, you can get a quick 2 here. You have another timeout. The Raptors are kind of falling apart. And not being able to inbound the ball there, Frankie, absolutely inexcusable. I love Kevin Love. I think he's their best inbounder. And I just thought that's just what a snapshot moment for the Heat.
Yeah, just a big mistake there. But it was a lot of like little mistakes over the course of the game that just added up and snowballed. Like you mentioned, Kevin, this was just a bad matchup for him in general. Like he had a good performance last game. It was like on the strength of that third quarter run. Chat saying, "Gee, looking like a giant bottle of Frank's Red Hot." But for the most part, Love had his struggles last game too. This isn't a good matchup for them, and they really had no other backup options to go to. Kalel Ware, we found out he was injured. Nico hurt his ankle over the break as well. And even Kashad, who would have been nice to make his debut against a team like the Raptors, was out because of injuries, I believe, or G League assignment. He wasn't able to make it on time. Even in those 10 minutes, Kevin Love was a minus 17. in a 3-point loss, that's the difference. That's the bench right there, not having enough. Toronto being able to score at will inside, and defense. There's no physicality and there's no size on the perimeter. There's no strength on the perimeter. We talked a little bit about the how weak the defensive perimeter is. They're going zone and they got no resistance at the bottom of the zone to anytime somebody steps up in the high post, the 5-man goes to cover the high post. They got Terry Rozier going against Scotty Barnes on the bottom of the zone on a cut. And, those guys are going to win those matchups.
Chat's calling me Fatrick Mahomes because I'm in the red. That's foul. Fatrick Mahomes is fucking foul. Yeah, Frankie. I mean, I agree on everything that you're saying. Chat's saying I'm a person with feelings. I agree with everything.
I give G the most amount of credit because if chat ever went on me like this, I could not take it. I'd be in my feelings.
I think it's so fucking funny.
You're like Levitard in that sense. Like you don't mind being the butt of the joke.
Nah, I don't. Because a lot of times it's like funny, right? Like we're having, and I know that like our audience is doing it, out of love, right? It's not malicious. And I think when people are malicious, it's typically not funny. And I've noticed. And listen, I've told this joke a lot. One time, this guy in middle school and we got in an argument. And he told me, get the cellulite out of your ears and listen. That's fucking funny. I'm just like, you know what, man? You win. Yeah. I can't beat that. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I agree with everything that you're saying. And I think it just comes down to like, they just lack consistency. They will, this happened against Indiana where they look really good against Indiana and then they lose to them right after, And I just think that good teams just like win those, man. Like good teams just like they don't let a bad team figure you out. They don't let a bad team get comfortable against you. Now, I think some of this was Toronto's at home. Barrett had a great game. I thought Miami's defense, and we talked about this last show. Their defense is so weird because statistically they're good, but if you watch them, I don't feel them. They have moments where they're like really aggressive and physical, but for the most part, you're just like, man, you're playing like 4 bad defenders in a lineup. I don't really know how that's survivable. And I think today was like one of those days. Like Kevin Love is getting attacked a lot. Rozier's getting attacked a lot. Hero's getting attacked a lot. Jimmy, not 100%, especially at the end of that game, puts a lot on Bam, who I don't think is having, a defensive player of the year type season.
Right.
And that's kind of where we are.
Yeah. I mean, we see consecutive games of this. Just Toronto doing it. Credit to them as well. Credit to them. They're taking advantage of it with the mismatches. Pirtle having another big game after last game, and Barrett was a monster, just taking advantage of the lack of physicality inside. And that's on the Heat, just not being able to put any force inside and slow them down.
I mean, I'm kind of like, I'm a little tired, Frankie, because I feel like we have the same shows about this team whenever they lose a game like this. Yeah. And I'm like, at what point do we find a new reason to lose? Because I just feel like the past 3 years, every time they have a game like this, we have the same exact conversation. And I can't imagine the locker room is much different. Like they have to have some sort of self-awareness of what's going on. And I don't want to overreact to a loss in December because that's just typically foolish. I guess it's just like, this is just so symptomatic of all their problems. Not even all their problems, because they actually scored today. It's a new problem every time, whether it's the defense. This time they at least scored and it was watchable. But they can't solve one problem without creating another. And I'm a little tired.
I am too, man. It's frustrating. Like getting, chat is going in on guys right now, blaming like 4 to 5 different guys for the loss. Like, there's no one issue with this team. There's a bunch of issues. It's mismatched parts, mismatched issues, mismatched roster. Hero improved, everyone else regressed. Yeah, I mean, like Hero had a great scoring game. And they're able to just attack him still, and that's the issue. Like they don't have any two-way players. Like no, Bam is a one-way player right now. He's able to contribute with the assists and all the advanced analytics and stuff like that. But he offensively, his scoring has been awful. They were able to score on him last game too. It wasn't anything they could do about it. No resistance, but just like this team is so soft. It feels so soft.
It's so soft, and their lives are about to get a lot harder, Frankie.
Yeah.
Boston, the Lakers, the Suns, Cavs, OKC, Orlando, Brooklyn, Orlando, Atlanta, Houston is kind of their next 10. And I mean, that's just not easy. And then after that, you have the Warriors and the Nuggets, kind of sprinkled in there, and the Lakers again, the Clippers, after that 10. So their lives, I mean, they could be, by the end of this next 10-game stretch, I mean, they could go like 3-7 in that stretch. I mean, would it surprise you if their only wins are like the Lakers, the Suns, and the Nets?
No, it would not.
You know what I mean? Like I could see them losing both Orlando games, the Cleveland game, the Thunder game, the Celtic game.
Chat saying Bam isn't even playing well on defense. The opposing centers are outscoring him. I mean, he outscored Jacob Pirtle last game head to head. It was 9-8. So, like, they're having to play so much zone that they're able to like kind of pick off their weaknesses. And like Tori MIA says, they wrote on the Bam Jimmy defensive pairing to plug holes until the wheels fell off. Like, there's no three-man group that they like 5-man group that they can consistently play for positivity, for like consistency. This roster is not constructed well.
Chad saying Bronny gonna eat. That's so funny. The Heat have the number 9 defense in the league.
That feels so fake.
It kind of is. I mean, I don't really get that. I mean, they're behind Boston and ahead of Minnesota for the 9th best defense in the league, which is pretty stunning. And I guess not stunning because, Eric Spoelstra just always kind of gets his teams there. I'm really interested to see after this next stretch how that looks because they're about to face a lot of really, really good teams, including Boston and their incredible offense. I believe Boston has the number 1 offense. Boston has the number 1 offense in the league. And Cleveland, and they're going to play both those teams kind of coming up. So they just can't get left in the dust. And again, it's like this is a team that I think we all know is kind of well past what we know their peak to be. And it feels like they are spinning their wheels to get to the playoffs and get bounced. I actually don't even see potential for this group to do anything in the postseason. Even last year, I was like, I could be talking myself into saying that they can win a series. Sometimes, man, I watch this team and I was like, can they? Because then you have nights like tonight that even nights where they're scoring, they don't instill any kind of confidence. Bam regressing as an offensive player is baffling to me. His percentages are all down. Again, we talked last show how much we like him in the new role and what he can provide. But then there's nights like tonight where you need a little more on defense. And if you're not doing that on offense, are you helping the club defensively? Are you helping your guys, with the extra effort defensively? And I don't know what's going on with him, but that's not there. And you're just not making that up on other spots of the floor. Your playmaking, listen, he had like 6 assists in the first half, and I don't think he had an assist in the second half. Why do you go away from his playmaking? A lot of questions. He's so good in the short roll today. And I thought Miami in the first half was really good at kind of filling corners, off pick and roll. Guys would relocate to corners, and I thought that was really effective for them. Kind of kept the Raptors moving. It doesn't keep everything stationary. And again, it's like you kind of lose your way as to what's working. And defensively, I mean, Barrett just killed you guys, found smaller guys, got into your defense. I mean, it's kind of a tale as old as time. What do you think is going to happen with the Boston Wings, with the Laker Wings, with the Phoenix Wings, the Cleveland Wings? Like, You're in for a long 2 weeks, bud.
Yeah, it's but we knew that coming in. Like, if you were honest with this team, like you looked at the roster, you look how much they've struggled the last 2 regular seasons, and what have they done to address it? It's just been band-aids on sinkholes. Like, it's not gonna last very long. And they're hoping that they've been hoping that the 22-23 regular season wasn't full gold. And what we're seeing is that the playoff run was the fool's gold, and the Heat are trying to believe in their own shit right now, and they haven't done enough to complement the roster. Me and Jack Alfonso, Heat Beat alumni, were talking about it, and it's just like, for a team that's been together for half a decade, it very much seems like a loose collection of assets. Like, there's no construction. Like, you could talk about
fit. Frankie, they don't fit.
They haven't moved better in that
What
way.
was the difference the season that they were the 1 seed in this one?
They had a lot of depth, and they had complementary pieces.
They had guys that fit. That what you're saying, complementary pieces. You had a guy slotting in at point guard that made sense. You had the ideal power forward in between Jimmy and Bam in PJ Tucker's last good season as a professional. You had Duncan and Max Strus and Gabe Vincent in very specific solid roles. You had Tyler Hero off the bench being a 6-man. You had all these different, you had a real backup point guard. You had a lot of shooting, a lot of guys hitting shots. You had a lot of guys that were two-way guys. PJ Tucker, that regular season, was a really consistent and good shooter. He was making plays off the dribble. He wasn't just a guy standing in the corner. He was helping you on offense. Bam was helping you on offense. Jimmy was helping you on offense. Kyle was helping you on offense. Duncan was helping you on offense. Max. All these guys that I just said, other than Duncan, are two-way players. They were helping you on both ends of the floor. And the only guy that really played heavy minutes for them that wasn't a two-way guy was Tyler Hero. And
Duncan.
And he won. Well, Duncan kind of fell off the rotation by the end.
Yeah, but that was like the last 15 games or so.
Tyler won an award. Tyler was 6th man of the year. That team made so much sense. Then you lose PJ. Kyle really falls off a cliff production-wise. And you just never replaced these guys. And then they just kept losing. Max Strus gone, no replacement. Gabe Vincent gone, no replacement. Caleb Martin, I didn't even mention Caleb Martin, who was fantastic that year.
Even Depot gave them fucking positive
Depot, another two-way guy. And they've lost all these two-way guys and have nothing to show for it.
And we talked
except Terry fucking Rozier.
And we talked about this. It was just like, how many of those guys, like, even if you want to argue that they're not like a full two-way guy, like Max Strus, for example, Max is at least average, and he's got size.
Max is a good defender for them.
Yeah.
Right.
No, but I'm saying, like, even
Max
if
he's guarding Jason Tatum in the conference finals and holding his own.
I agree. But even if you want to say disagree, you can't disagree that he was at least an average defender who was
neutral
capable
Neutral
at worst, exactly. And this team doesn't have that, and this team is smaller than that team who we complain about being too small.
Smaller and less fucking dog, bro.
And less versatile too, because PJ was guarding 1 through 5. And
less
they don't have
versatile, less dog.
They don't have forwards that can size up. Like, it's Jimmy, and who's like pacing himself. How many times does Jimmy switch onto the 5 and just go for a steal, miss it, and give up the layup, and that's it?
But you know what, Frankie? That's age, and I think that's like
no. I'm not blaming it on him.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, that's the fault of, like, they're relying on the 35-year-old with bad knees to still be this guy.
I'm just right. Where are the hard fouls? And I've said this. I've said this the last few years, where the Heat were always one of the highest fouling teams in the league. And last year, they were one of the least fouly teams in the year. And I think that says something about kind of like how, and again, this year's the same thing. The Heat commit the 3rd fewest fouls. I don't like that. That tells me that you're not being physical. That tells me that your defense is maybe disciplined, but you're not being felt. Because sometimes you got to be felt. I think that's an overrated statistic. because I think that you want to be physical, you want to be felt, you want your presence made, you want guys to be a little scared to kind of come into your paint, into your zone, into your area. So I don't like when the Heat are. I think it's okay. Obviously, you don't want them to be the highest. Like, who has the most fouls this year? It's like Brooklyn, Toronto, Washington. You don't want to be that, but you want to be like middle of the pack.
Right.
Cleveland, Milwaukee, Minnesota, Denver, Orlando. That's where you want to be.
For
where
sure.
you're like, you're physical, but you're not overly undisciplined.
Yeah, it's just this team isn't the like is very much not a Heat team in like what we're used to in the sense of like their build and like what they're good at, what they lean on. It feels like they're leaning offense, but most of the season, I mean, I think you said today they had a lower offensive rating than they did last year. Like, so where's their niche? What are they good at? What can they hang their hat on every single game? Like, I don't know. I don't recognize this team. I don't believe in this team that much. And I'm so disappointed, man. Like somebody in the chat mentioned like the charges. Like, who takes charges on this team besides Kevin Love? It's like it's ridiculous this year. Like, look, I'm gonna pull up the list to try to find how many charges this team has taken total. Like, it doesn't feel like much, and that's usually something like a bread and butter Heat team. How you earn your 4 guys have taken a charge this season.
That's crazy.
4 guys. That is ridiculous. That is not Miami Heat basketball in the slightest. Like, I'm gonna bet you anything. Look, I pulled up October in 21-22. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys had taken a charge. 2 of them had already taken 3 charges.
He'd have only taken 7 charges this year. 7.
This is
the Warriors are leading the league 22.
This is not Miami Heat basketball. There's no resistance at all. There's no physicality. There's no like you said, there's no fouling. There's no bumping on the perimeter. They're really soft. They're playing too many guys. They have too many guys on the roster that aren't physical defenders. Like, I think you have to take some of these guys minutes and give it to like a Drew because he has to play.
I gotta be honest, Frankie. I think that these things that we're talking about, I think is the biggest argument to just blowing it up. I think.
Welcome.
Yeah, I'm kind of there now, just because I really just see the nowhere that they're going. Yesterday or Friday or whatever the fuck we did our show, I was like, yeah, 5 of 6, not bad. They could be 6 of 7 heading into Boston. And instead they just lose a game on the road to a bad team. It's just embarrassing. They just create new problems for themselves. They lose in the same ways. It's just annoying. And you kind of dig into the numbers a little bit, and you're just like, this team they're soulless. They're a little soulless. And I never thought I'd say that about a Heat team. They're a little soulless. Even the young guys, except for Pell, I think a lot of these guys are kind of Tyler and Pell are the only guys playing with a little umph. I think Bam does too, but I've just been I don't know how I feel about his play this year yet.
He's been awful.
I'm still deciding because I do like the role. I do like the Super Draymond role, but I just wish it was like better percentages. I don't know. I'm just like kind of frustrated by the whole situation.
Yeah, I mean, but it's just as a whole, man. Like I don't know why they are so reluctant to seeing what's in front of them. They had a lot of these issues, inconsistencies specifically the last 2 seasons, and they're expecting it with Jimmy getting older to improve, and he's trying to play every game to his credit, but we can see he's struggling to get healthy. I mean, that fall he had today was scary. If he probably should take tomorrow off, but that's the thing, man. Like that, there's a reason guys don't get better when they leave here, and it's mostly because he never sell high. and teams know that. That's why they don't want trades with the Heat, because the Heat never sell high on a guy. So as soon as the Heat are selling somebody, they're like, this guy's not good. This guy's at the point where he's not good. They've milked it. They're trying to sell me a lemon, and that's why they don't win trades. That's why they can't get anybody. They don't have cap space. They don't draft high enough to really get lucky. They're hoping one of these guys pops.
It's
but
more they buy high on guys that they shouldn't buy high on.
Yeah, I mean, but they also need to sell high. Like we talk about bearish or bullish.
Being honest, they bought high on Lowry. They bought high on Rozier.
And Lowry was a guy that we always knew there was a high chance the last couple years weren't going to be strong. Like you were buying for it was a 1 year.
And I said that at the time too.
Yeah, you did.
I did. I was like, hey, listen, you're all in this year and maybe next, because I remember even saying, I was like, his numbers took a dip, but you could chalk that up to Tampa year, because remember the Raptors had played at Tampa the year before. But I don't know how long this is going to last. You're probably going to get another quality year or two. There was only one real good year, and really, I think he helped them a lot in the run to the finals. So when it counted, he was really impactful, I think, for them. But reality, for a regular season, he was really good for that 1 year, and then he got hurt in the postseason and really couldn't do much outside of that one game in Boston. So, they buy high on Rozier, who's been horrible.
Chat says, I can't wait for Hater G to be back with his chest out tomorrow after we.
Oh, you know it, baby. You know it. You know what it is, too? And like I said on the top of the show, highest of highs. I've been on sports cloud 9 today.
Yeah.
I had the greatest feeling of watching Pep Guardiola lose his goddamn mind. I'm watching this man have a breakdown on the touchline. I never thought I'd see that in our stadium. You know how good that feels to then pivot to Jimmy fucking breaking his hip again.
The thing that's just annoying, it's like that. I think 5 Reasons talked about like the Heat frustration level, and I think a lot of it just comes down to like there's no consistency. Like nobody can see their vision. Like if it constantly, it just feels like they're lying to themselves. Who's we? But it feels like they're lying to themselves. They're trying to say they're still championship. Pat is saying like it's on the players, and in an interview with UD, and like they have enough. But is this team built to complement Jimmy and him not being able to play a full 82?
Frankie, I was about to say,
is this team built for Bam and his weaknesses? Is this team built for Tyler and his weaknesses? No, it's not built for anybody. This is just a ragtag group of guys that Spo doesn't have. It's not even built for Spo, and he's the coach locked in for 8 years.
I compared it to the Rockets when they had Harden. They got better and better. They got Harden and CP. They went on their run. Then they traded CP for Westbrook, and then they just kept getting diminishing returns for all the guys on their team until Harden left, and then they just reset. And I see this with this team. They're losing guys. They're getting diminishing returns on guys. They're losing assets. And now we're at the point it's like, well, they have nothing to give, and they're capped out. And I don't see an improvement to it. I don't see a path of improvement other than the fact that they draft really well. And it looks like, I don't know what Khalil Ware's ceiling is going to be, but it's certainly not franchise changing.
But even if you say like the draft really well, like look at the last 2 first-round picks, they've kind of regressed. And like Nico's getting DMP coaches' decisions. Jaime's been super up and down this season, mostly down. Like we can say they've drafted really well, but they haven't even drafted a starter quality player since Tyler Hero, and that was 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
That's true. So much to be seen. Obviously, a lot can change. Maybe they don't lose. Maybe they go on a 5-game win streak against all these really good teams, and we're like, well, we're back. Doubt. And even then, I think everything that we said today is going to hold unless something changes defensively. Because you could say that guys can get hot shooting, but the defense is either there or it's not, and I just don't see it.
Yeah, like they didn't have they only made 15 threes today, which was a big difference compared to last game. But I mean, that's 37.5%. They scored 116 points. They scored plenty enough. But Toronto 8 at the rim, 8 inside the paint. Fucking RJ Barrett 15 for 20 from the field. Like, just had a monster impactful game scoring wise, and most of it was inside the paint. And that's the thing. Like, they need something. Like, I if you told me that, like, personally, if you told me as a fan, I know all fans aren't going to be the same, but if you told me this team was going to pivot and they're going to try shit that and you know, they're going to trade Jimmy because they don't want to re-sign him, they don't want to max him, and they're going to try shit with Ware. I wasn't even a Ware fan pick, but I'd rather see him fucking play than this shit.
Don't tell Lou.
He says the same thing too, though. He would rather see this shit. Like, at least you could have a direction. Like, you have a direction, and you know, like, what they're trying shit. If you can't find out year one if Ware and Bam can play together, why the fuck did you pick him? You're gonna waste a whole year for a team that's not gonna win a round in the playoffs?
This surprises you?
No, it doesn't. That's what pisses me off.
you don't know who you're dealing with?
I know who I'm dealing with, but I'm surprised they don't fucking change.
I mean,
at least Tyler Hero was able to look at himself in the fucking mirror and say and say, like, I want to be better. I want to do better.
I'm really proud of I'm so really proud of him for that.
I'm so fucking proud of him. So many fucking guys are stubborn, especially players and men are stubborn and won't change their fucking ways. He looked himself in the mirror and he said, I was shooting a lot of uncalled for shots. Like, that's to self-respect and self-reflect and realize, like, I got to admit this is my weakness and I got to be better. Like, this is why he's having a great year.
I'm proud of him. I've talked a lot on this show why I'm proud of him. And yeah, I don't have much else to add to that other than he's a hell of a player. And I don't think that they'll get an all-star spot so that he can be rewarded, but I hope he gets rewarded in some way because I think he's been really good this season.
Chat is doing. Bam still has his head in the clouds with Asia. Bam and Asia have been dating for like 3 years. All right, if you want to start blaming Asia now, you're fucking idiot.
Leave their girlfriend.
You're fucking idiot.
That has nothing to do with it, man.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with it.
That's
Bam's head is in his ass for his own fucking self.
That's so corny.
Yeah, look, chat saying Tyler was trying to be Booker instead of Curry. He wasted a few seasons doing that, and to his credit, like, just to admit that he needs to change the shot profile, and that's a lot, man. Chat saying, if anything, Bam needs to pay more attention to Asia's game. I don't think he has the facilities to do what Asia could do.
He don't have that. He don't have that skill set.
If Bam had Asia's jumper, they would have already won a ship.
Easy, absolutely easy.
Like,
facts.
Y'all don't know how good Asia is.
She's good. Chat saying I'm pretty corny too, but we move.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not corny in people's business like that.
Bam still picking up his dribble and hesitating is insane. He doesn't have a good handle, man. Like, I get that. And I wish he would fucking whip it around and that's what I'm glad he's like passing it more. But there's still times where, especially live ball, he picks up his dribble and he forces up a terrible shot. And I'm like, just fucking pass the ball, man. You still got time on the clock for us to get a good shot. Why are you taking that shot? And that's where we need more. I wish Bam could be Asia. Asia was the number one pick, was the GOAT in college. She earned a statue. Bam was never going to be Asia.
She has a statue?
Yeah, Asia has a statue in college. She's a national champ.
So yeah, Bam's not statue level talent. Although we've seen what statue level talent gets you. It gets you a poor replica.
That's what happened to the season, man. They put fucking Terry Rozier statue out there and all hell went to shit.
They named that shit Pat Riley Court and it all just tumbling down, tumbling down. They
took off the hardest working. They took something off the mantra for the NBA Cup court that was there last season.
They did?
Yeah, they removed one part of it.
That's
Chat, help me out here. I don't remember what the part was, but somebody pointed it out on Blue Sky, and I was died when I saw that.
that's so fucking funny. We're so cooked. The brand's never been more over.
Man, it does, but like I, I'm there's still stuff to like look forward to this season. Like I'm really enjoying Pell. He had another solid performance. Like he's one of their best perimeter defenders as a second round pick. Once he gets more respect from the refs, like he's gonna be even better. He tries to take charges. He harasses the offensive players. I want to see Ware play more, and he was starting to get some more reps. This would have been a great matchup to really try him out, especially when Pirtle was on the bench. And you hope to see some more reps from Jaime, some more growth. He's struggling right now, but you hope this is just a blip in the radar. And if hopefully Tyler could keep it going in his first All-Star appearance.
Hope, man. Hope. And yeah, guys. So we kind of did this impromptu. Wasn't supposed to be a show today, but we gave you 37 good minutes on a game that, frankly, I don't think you guys wanted. I hope we can make you laugh, smile, think a little bit.
Hey, chat got to vent too.
Chat got to vent.
Shout out to chat. We can't do this without you guys. We appreciate you guys, good or bad, win or loss. Whether we agree or disagree, we do it for you guys, and you guys show up for us, and we always appreciate you.
Chad is alleging I'm watching anime midstream right now. Let me tell you something. My anime watching has gone in the fucking toilet.
G is looking at some stats. Show some.
I actually am. I'm scrolling through dunks and threes, seeing kind of Heat's adjusted for schedule. You want to know the truth, chat? I'm trying to see if strength of schedule, if plus strength of schedule means harder schedule or easier schedule. They don't really make that clear on the website, and I'm really just trying to see
not even the stats. He's looking at the glossary.
Must know what I'm doing.
Oh man, yeah. We'll have a show on for tomorrow night, guys. He take on Boston, second night of a back-to-back. If Jimmy doesn't play, I think the only solace, you hope they can launch a lot of threes, hit a lot of threes, and Bam usually plays well against Boston, so hopefully that carries over.
And Haywood.
And Haywood especially.
Haywood be hitting threes against Boston.
Chad's asking if Heat games add or subtract from strength of schedule.
See y'all tomorrow.